New Zealand is often portrayed as one of the most peaceful and beautiful countries in the world. With its rolling green hills, pristine lakes, and snow-capped mountains, it appears like a land untouched by economic troubles. But the reality beneath this scenic beauty is far more complex. Despite its global reputation for wealth, stability, and high quality of life, New Zealand's economy has faced a series of challenges over the past decade that have significant implications for its citizens and the global financial community. The country is a small, open economy, heavily dependent on trade and exports. As of 2024, New Zealand's GDP stands around 300 billion United States dollars with a population of approximately 5 million people. This combination of a small domestic market and heavy reliance on global demand makes the country particularly sensitive to international economic fluctuations. The primary sectors driving its economy include agriculture, tourism, and emerging technology. Dairy and meat exports have historically been the backbone, with New Zealand being one of the largest dairy exporters globally. Tourism contributes significantly as well, bringing millions of visitors annually before the pandemic. In recent years, the government has encouraged technological innovation, investment in software, biotech, and renewable energy, aiming to diversify the economic base. However, this dependence on exports creates vulnerabilities. During the COVID-19 pandemic, New Zealand gained worldwide attention for its strict lockdown measures and quick containment strategies. The economy experienced a sharp contraction in 2020 but rebounded in 2021 due to government stimulus packages and strong domestic consumption. However, this recovery was uneven and fragile. Border closures disrupted tourism, a vital source of foreign revenue, and global supply chain issues affected exports of primary goods. As the world reopened, New Zealand faced a dual challenge: how to stabilize its economy while addressing structural issues that had long been ignored. One of the most visible pressures on the economy has been inflation. Inflation surged in 2022, reaching levels around 7 to 8%, largely due to global energy shocks, rising commodity prices, and domestic housing shortages. Although the Reserve Bank of New Zealand has implemented measures to cool inflation, the cost of living remains a pressing concern. Many households struggle to keep up with everyday expenses, particularly in urban areas where housing costs remain high. The median house price in Auckland, for example, still exceeds 1 million NZD, making home ownership unattainable for a significant portion of the population. Inflation is not merely a statistic, it directly affects the daily lives of New Zealanders. Higher food, energy, and housing costs erode purchasing power, forcing families to make tough decisions. The government's interest rate policies, aimed at controlling inflation, have also had ripple effects across the economy. The Reserve Bank's policy rate peaked at around 5 to 6% in 2023, increasing borrowing costs for mortgages, personal loans, and business financing. As a result, many potential home buyers were priced out, slowing the property market and cooling what had previously been one of the world's most overheated real estate sectors. Another challenge is wage growth, which has lagged behind inflation for several years. This is partly due to low productivity growth. New Zealand's productivity has consistently trailed behind other developed economies, limiting wage increases and constraining domestic consumption. Sectors like agriculture and tourism, which are key to the economy, face inherent productivity limits due to land constraints and seasonal demand, respectively. Combined with a tight labor market, wages have increased only modestly, insufficient to match rising costs. Housing affordability remains a long-term problem. Rapid urbanization, limited housing supply, and rising construction costs have created a persistent gap between wages and property prices. For young families and first-time buyers, this represents not only a financial challenge but also a social issue, as many are forced to delay major life decisions like starting a family or investing in education. Labor and migration patterns also significantly impact New Zealand's economy. The country has historically relied on skilled immigrants to fill gaps in healthcare, construction, technology, and agriculture. However, tighter immigration policies during the pandemic, coupled with global opportunities elsewhere, have led to emigration of young, skilled professionals. This brain drain strains local industries and limits innovation, creating long-term challenges for economic growth. Trade is central to New Zealand's economic model. The country maintains multiple free trade agreements, most notably with Australia, China, and ASEAN nations. Dairy exports to China and meat exports to the US remain critical. However, global volatility, geopolitical tensions, and changing demand patterns have created uncertainty. For instance, China's regulatory tightening and fluctuations in global commodity prices have affected export revenues, highlighting the economy's vulnerability to external shocks. Environmental factors further complicate the picture. Agriculture, which is heavily reliant on natural resources, faces risks from climate change, including droughts, floods, and other extreme weather events. Tourism, which accounts for a substantial portion of service exports, is similarly exposed to environmental disruptions. The government has committed to sustainability initiatives and green policies, but transitioning the economy while maintaining growth remains a delicate balancing act. Government debt, which increased during pandemic stimulus programs, limits fiscal flexibility. Policymakers must navigate a complex landscape of supporting households, stimulating growth, and maintaining fiscal responsibility. Infrastructure, healthcare, and education spending must compete with debt obligations, making policy decisions particularly challenging. Despite these challenges, there are clear opportunities for resilience and growth. Tourism is gradually recovering, providing much-needed revenue. The technology and renewable energy sectors are expanding, offering potential for long-term economic diversification. Policymakers are focusing on infrastructure investments, digital economy initiatives, and educational reforms to prepare the workforce for the demands of a changing global market. For individuals, the lessons are straightforward. Careful financial planning, saving, and awareness of economic trends are essential. Understanding inflation, interest rates, and the housing market can help households protect their wealth. For investors, New Zealand represents both caution and opportunity. A stable legal system and transparent policies make it attractive, but structural vulnerabilities and global dependencies require strategic diversification. New Zealand's story is a reminder that no country, regardless of its apparent stability, is immune to economic pressures. Inflation, productivity gaps, labor migration, global market fluctuations, and environmental risks all converge to shape the nation's financial reality. Staying informed and planning carefully is the best defense against economic uncertainty. Looking ahead, New Zealand faces both significant challenges and unique opportunities. Policymakers are increasingly aware of structural weaknesses and are attempting to address them through targeted reforms. One key focus is digital transformation and technology adoption. Encouraging startups, promoting fintech innovation, and investing in renewable energy and biotechnology not only diversifies the economy but also increases global competitiveness. Education and skills development are equally crucial. With labor shortages and brain drain continuing to pressure the market, the government is emphasizing vocational training and higher education programs to equip the workforce for the demands of a modern economy. For example, programs in AI, software development, and green technologies are being promoted to ensure that New Zealand doesn't lag behind in the global tech race. Trade policy remains another critical area. While free trade agreements with China, Australia, and ASEAN countries provide a strong backbone, diversification of export markets is becoming increasingly important. New Zealand is exploring partnerships with the European Union, North America, and emerging markets to reduce dependence on a few key trading partners. Environmental sustainability continues to shape economic decisions. New Zealand's heavy reliance on agriculture means that climate change adaptation is not optional, it's essential. Policies promoting water conservation, sustainable farming practices, and carbon-neutral initiatives are being prioritized. These efforts not only protect the environment but also ensure the long-term stability of exports, particularly dairy and meat products, which are highly sensitive to environmental conditions. On the consumer side, households are becoming more financially savvy. Rising costs and housing pressures have forced many to rethink savings, debt management, and investment strategies. For example, more families are diversifying investments into index funds, ETFs, and retirement accounts to safeguard against market fluctuations and inflation. From a global perspective, New Zealand's experience offers key lessons. No matter how small or seemingly insulated an economy is, external shocks, policy decisions, and global market trends can significantly impact domestic stability. Countries heavily reliant on exports or tourism must maintain flexibility and adaptability. Similarly, young talent retention is critical. Brain drain can have long-lasting consequences on productivity and innovation. Final lesson and subscribe. New Zealand's story reminds us that economic stability is fragile but manageable with informed policies and personal financial awareness. Stay informed, stay diversified, and subscribe for more global finance and economic stories.